Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to teach you a game called Climb the Ladder. Climb the Ladder is a collaborative game in which as a group we're trying to get the highest score possible, and here's how it works. So every round, at the start of the round, one person volunteers to be the judge. So for this round I volunteered to be the judge, that's why I have the red border around my camera. And what's going to happen is every single player, including the judge, is going to get assigned a unique number between 1 and 11. Okay? So this game can have a maximum of 11 players. If you have fewer than 11 players, some numbers won't get assigned. But in this case, we have all 11 numbers present among the players. And you'll get a little pop-up telling you what your number is. It's also in your box for you to see. So in this particular round, my number is 1. And no one else knows that. And what happens is we all get the same question, and the question defines a scale from 1 to 11. So, for example, this question is, your neighbor suddenly starts acting very differently on a scale from 1 to 11. How are they acting differently from the most benign, which is a 1, to the most unsettling, which is an 11? Okay? And now what you have to do is you have to answer this question. You have to type out words or sentences. You have to answer this question in a way that corresponds to your number. So I have to type in something that would be a 1 on this scale from benign to unsettling. Okay. Meanwhile, if you have an 11, you have to type the most unsettling thing possible. So the extremes are easier to come up with answers for. It's a lot easier to think of like what's a 2 out of 11 on this scale. The tricky ones are like 5, 6, 7. Like what is a 6 out of 11 on the scale from benign to unsettling for how your neighbor is acting? That's the fun of the game. That's the subjectivity. Okay, so what's going to happen is all of us are going to submit an answer to the question. So let's just say they're acting very differently. What could they be doing differently that is very benign? They start saying hello to me as I walk by in the morning. Okay, it's different, but it's benign. All right, so what happens is everyone submits their answer. We get to see all the answers in the middle. If the text is a little small, you can always hover over a card to see what it says in larger font. And because I'm the judge, I am placed by myself on the left half of the screen. And now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to order these from lowest to highest. Now, I don't know what number each player got. That's what I'm trying to figure out based on the answers they submitted. Okay. Now, all of these bots, of course, submitted nonsense answers. So this is not an illustrative example because obviously we have no idea just based on what the bot submitted what their number was. So let me give you some actual examples. Okay, so this was a game we were playing the other day. A crack appears in the pavement that no one else seems to notice on a scale from 1 to 11. What is the most unimportant to most ominous significance it could have? And you can see the variety of answers we get, right? An alien spaceship just fired a laser cutter bread knife at the Earth from the moon. Like that is the explanation for the crack. And so on, right? So here's another one, and you can see people really type a lot. A shadow in your room seems to move on its own. What's the most ordinary to most disturbing cause behind the shadow? The curtains are flapping in the wind, although there is no wind, maybe a fan is on. Okay, so that's the kind of answer you're gonna get. So what happens is, if you're the judge, you have to first figure out, okay, what's the 1, then what's the 2, then what's the 3, then what's the 4, and so on. And again, if you have fewer than 11 players, some of these numbers are going to be missing. So you may not have the 1 present among the answers. You may not have the 2. You may not have the 3. So you have to try and figure out, okay, what's the lowest on the scale, and then work your way up. The way you get points in this game is basically you get a point every time you successfully rank a higher number after a lower number. So the converse is that you don't get a point every time you make a mistake, and making a mistake means you click a lower number after a higher number. So let me try to demonstrate this. Okay, so I know that I am the 1, so I will click on my answer as the lowest. All right, so I'm the 1, everyone sees that mine's the 1, and now the 1 is done, right? And now I have to try and figure out what the 2 is or the 3 is. So I'm just gonna click on a random one. Okay, that was the 9. Now that's a problem because there's all these numbers I missed by clicking on the 9. So the way I've done this, I'm going to make mistakes in the future because I will have to loop back around to try and get some of the lower numbers in order. And the second I loop back around, I will not gain points. So right now we have 2 points because we've gotten two answers in order. But the second I get, let's say, the 10 and the 11, then I have to loop back around. The second I loop back around, I don't get a point for that. Okay? Now, part of the social dynamic is that other players can only help you in your decision-making process, as you're reading through all of these and trying to find the next highest. They can only help you once you click on their answer. So I start off alone on the left half of the screen, then I click on someone's answer, and then regardless of whether we got a point or not, that person joins me and can now help me for the future ones. Okay, so bot one and I can now be thinking, okay, what's the 10? Maybe it's this one, right? And we click something, and nope, that's the 5. But now the person who typed the 5 answer joins us on this side of the screen, and on until we get through all of the answers, and we get a score for that round. So that's the entire game. This is a super fun game. It's fun because there's 2 levels of subjectivity. One is your interpretation of what answer would correspond to your number on the scale, and then the other level is you looking at all the answers and then trying to rank them. So there's sort of like two levels of noise to each answer, and it's really fun and just very satisfying when you make just a couple of mistakes or sometimes even 0 mistakes. Like I think in this one, there were 7 of us and we got the full 7 points. We made 0 mistakes, which almost never happens with that many players. So definitely check this one out. Every round is independent, so it's not like there's a continuity between rounds. Every round there's a new prompt and someone volunteers to be the judge. And when the game ends, you'll get some stats about how you did across all the rounds you played. Really fun game. Definitely check this one out and let us know what you think. Thanks so much.